The Rams just beat the Bengals in the Super Bowl 23-20, and man, it was a cool Super Bowl because there were great stories on both sides. No matter who won, whether it was Cincinnati or LA, it was going to be good, and there were good people involved. And look, the Rams have so many compelling storylines that I go like, oh my gosh, just person after person after person. Andrew Whitworth, the Rams' 40-year-old left tackle, not only won his first ever Super Bowl, I'm so happy for him, he did it against his former NFL team, the Cincinnati Bengals. He spent years in Cincinnati before he came to LA in 2017. So he got a ring. He beat his former team. He can walk off into the sunset, the NFL's Man of the Year award winner. And I'm so happy for him. Matthew Stafford, the Rams quarterback, 12 years in Detroit with the Lions. 0 playoff wins to show for that time. Now in LA, 1 season in LA, he won a Super Bowl. He won 4 playoff games in a row. And what does that say about the Detroit Lions? Remember the narrative about, Matthew Stafford sat Padford. All he does is put up big numbers and never win. Well, who was the problem? Was it Matthew Stafford or Detroit? Clearly the problem was the Detroit Lions organization, because Stafford has shown now he can win. Not only can he win playoff games, he can win a Super Bowl. I'm so happy for him. And frankly, in my opinion, I think Matthew Stafford probably just secured himself a spot in the Hall of Fame, because he's going to retire with really, really good numbers. He's going to have a ton of yards, a ton of touchdowns, and now he has a ring, something that no one can take away from him. We will always say, well, he put up good numbers, he won a Super Bowl, and he's no longer viewed now as a guy who could not win the big game. And I think he's got a couple years left to put up more big numbers, and I really, truly believe that this is a game that we're going to look back on and go, that right there solidified Matthew Stafford as a Hall of Fame quarterback. It's the difference between him and Phillip Rivers or Carson Palmer or guys like that who were close but not quite there. I think, Donovan McNabb is another guy right on the edge who never won a Super Bowl, and we look down on him because of it. Matthew Stafford, this is going to elevate him and I think allow him to make it into the Hall of Fame someday. And man, LA needed this win so badly. They lost the Super Bowl in 2018, and this year they traded away like literally all of their future draft picks. They traded for Matthew Stafford. They traded for Von Miller, Sony Michel. They're like, we don't need first-round picks, second-round picks, third-round picks. We don't care. They literally, they'll get a compensatory pick for next year, but in the 2022 NFL draft upcoming, they literally have, I believe, either 2 fifth-round picks and a 7th-round pick, or a 5th-round pick and 2 7th-round picks. I believe it's 2 fifths and a 7th, but they're not picking till the final day of the draft, and they are totally fine with it because they went all in on this year and trying to win a Super Bowl. They won a Super Bowl in their home stadium. It's the 2nd year in a row that has happened, and oh my gosh, I don't know. It's hard to not be happy for the Rams organization. I'm so happy for their head coach, Sean McVay. I mean, when he lost the Super Bowl in 2018, it was heartbreaking, and he's been so successful. This is kind of the pinnacle of his career, and if he never wins one ever again, he'll always be able to say, I got this Super Bowl, I won one in 2021, and he's the youngest head coach to ever win a Super Bowl, 36 years old and 20 days, which is crazy. How about safety Eric Weddle? Eric Weddle came out of retirement in January. He was retired for 2 years and said, I'm going to come back. The Rams need me. I'm going to help them in their playoff run. And in the Super Bowl, Eric Weddle was the Rams defensive play caller, which is just, as another storyline after storyline after storyline. Aaron Donald finally got a ring. Aaron Donald has done everything. He's a perennial All-Pro. He's won Defensive Player of the Year multiple times. And after doing everything else in his career, he now has finally won a Super Bowl. I'm happy for Aaron Donald. And he had the key moment where he put pressure on Joe Burrow on 4th down at the end of the game. It was basically a sack, but it's ruled an incomplete pass because he did get rid of it and throw it near Sam Pirine. Aaron Donald made key plays in the Super Bowl to help his team finally get over the hump, and I'm happy for him. Odell Beckham Jr., he got hurt. I feel bad for him. He hurt his knee. But I think that it would have been really hard for Odell to lose the Super Bowl not having played the second half because of a knee injury. But he made an impact. He had 2 catches for 52 yards and a touchdown before he left the game injured. And aside from just his Super Bowl performance, you have to give credit to OBJ because he made a bunch of key plays on the road to a Super Bowl as well. I'm happy for OBJ. It's crazy. Like Andrew Whitworth, Matthew Stafford, Eric Weddle, Aaron Donald, OBJ. There's so many characters on this team that I'm like, I'm so happy for these guys. Also, apparently, Van Jefferson, the Rams wide receiver, ran to the hospital after the game because his girlfriend had a baby on, their baby on the same night he won a Super Bowl. And his home stadium, it's unbelievable. Story after story. I'm so happy. It was a magical night in LA. From how about that halftime show, which really felt like the culmination of everything, music culture in LA. It was awesome. The hometown win. And my favorite thing about this Super Bowl is that the Rams were rewarded for going all in. As I look back, I'm only 24 years old, but I look at all the stuff I've done. Lived in LA, went to college, dropped out of college, working a podcast, live in Hawaii. Like, all the best decisions I've ever made were very risky, and all the best stuff I've ever done were moments where I'm like, I'm scared, but I'm going to go for it. And it's way better to give it everything you have and lose than wonder, what if I'd tried that? And could I have made that move instead? And the Rams, win or lose, were able to look in the mirror and say, we did everything we possibly could to win a Super Bowl. And I'm really glad to see that pay off. I'm happy to see them. They made so many moves to build their team this year. And they ignored the future and said, it has to happen right now. And for that reason, I am so happy for the Rams general manager, Les Snead. The team he built, the way he made move after move. Like, Cam Akers, tears his Achilles. I'm like, well, we need a running back. Can we trade for Sony Michel? Let's make it happen. Can we get Von Miller? Well, our quarterback situation, we don't like it. Can we trade the farm to get Matthew Stafford? Let's see if that pays off. I love that they made risky move, quote unquote, risky move after risky move, mortgaging their future. Caution to the wind. We don't care about the future. We'll worry about that later. We need to win a Super Bowl, and they did it. And that's really cool. On top of, by the way, man, the guy I haven't talked about yet is Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp, the star receiver. In the Super Bowl, he had 8 catches for 92 yards and 2 touchdowns. On the final drive for LA, he not only had a key run on 4th down to get a first down, he also caught 4 passes and a game-winning touchdown, really twice. One was called back, then the second time he caught a back shoulder fade from Matthew Stafford. I remember watching Cooper Kupp in college at Eastern Washington University. I watched him live many times from the sideline, working for ESPN, and he's come such a long way. It's so cool for him. He now just won a Super Bowl MVP. That guy from Washington went to a small school, made it to the NFL. Now he sits atop the world, atop the football world. It's so cool to see. And I want to be clear, Cooper Kupp basically just had the best year a receiver has ever had in the NFL. He got the receiving triple crown, meaning that he had the most catches, the most receiving yards, and most receiving touchdowns all last year. He led the year in all 3 categories across the NFL. He won the NFL's Offensive Player of the Year, and he just got the Super Bowl MVP award, which is like, what else can you ask from this guy? And the only other receiver to ever do all 3 things, and that's in his entire career, is Jerry Rice. Not only did Cooper Kupp do that during his career, he did it all in one season, which is unbelievable. You have to, tip your cap to the year that Cooper Kupp had. And there was so much pressure on the Rams to win this Super Bowl. All the moves they made. Like, imagine if you trade your future for Matthew Stafford. You trade for Von Miller. You sign OBJ. You make a move for a running back to kind of hold your team together while Cam Akers gets healthy, Sony Michel. You do all that stuff. You mortgage your future, and you don't win a Super Bowl. By the way, in your home building. All the pressure was on the LA Rams, and they won, which is so cool to see. And, man, like, despite OBJ getting hurt, despite all the stuff that happened in the game, it's cool to see the Rams pull it out. And shout out to Matthew Stafford, man. At the end of the game, when his team really needed a play or two, he put together a really good game-winning drive. Big plays, he delivered, and I'm just so happy for the LA Rams and their fan base. Now, look, I thought everything that could have gone right for the Cincinnati Bengals did go in their favor. The Rams really struggled to run the ball. At one point, they had, Cam Akers, the running back, had 11 carries for 13 yards. They didn't run the ball very well in LA. Odell Beckham Jr. got hurt. Matthew Stafford threw 2 interceptions. One was basically a punt, and one was not his fault. But still, you get 2 picks on the opposing quarterback. That's great. By the way, the Bengals did not have a turnover the entire game. They beat Jalen Ramsey deep twice. They had a deep ball to Jamar Chase down the right sideline, then a deep ball to T. Higgins down the left sideline. There was a wild no call on that long touchdown to start the third quarter. where, remember, he grabbed Jalen Ramsey's face mask and no one called it. The way the second half started in general, there was that one play, 75-yard drive, the deep ball, first play of the third quarter, that long touchdown to T. Higgins. Then on the Rams' first play, right after that, Matthew Stafford throws an interception. And you're like, my gosh, the Bengals have the lead, all the momentum, and the football. I mean, everything that could have gone the Bengals' way did. And unfortunately, in the fourth quarter, the Bengals' biggest weakness, their offensive line really cost them. They had chances, man. They had the ball 3 times in the fourth quarter. They punted 2 times. They had a turnover on downs. And Joe Burrow got sacked a lot in that second half. And I thought that if the game was close, Cincinnati would have an edge here. I thought that, man, I thought the Rams probably should have won by 17 points. So they were a better football team. But I'm like, look, if you allow Cincinnati to hang around, they're going to make plays late in the game. And I guess I just got that one right. Congrats to the LA Rams. And, it's really disappointing that the Bengals didn't score at all in the fourth quarter. Win or lose, I'm happy with the outcome. I don't really have a dog in the fight too much, but I really would have liked to see more scoring at the end. It did come down to the end. The Rams are on the goal line. It was tense. It was dramatic. It was fun, but I'm disappointed that the Bengals didn't put up any points in the fourth quarter at all. I would have thought that if the game was close at the end, I really did believe the Bengals had an edge. And again, I guess I just got that one wrong.